Who? They. The scholars of Seerah, they called it Siyar and Maghazi. Basically, Siyar, or the different ahwal, conditions of the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and Maghazi, they usually call it the battles of the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, because there was a lot of battles there. They usually give an introduction of the Arab Peninsula, Al-Jazira Al-Arabiya, before Islam. What was going on around in this area at this time. And they will take their time talking about this, which is, we're not going to go in detail. But I will tell you two things. Arabs, the history of Arabs very quickly, and the history of everything that was going around that time when the Prophet ﷺ was born in the area. What was going on in the area. Because that would relate very much to Islam. First of all, who are the Arabs? The Arabs come in three categories. Two of them are not there anymore. One of them is there. The first kind of Arabs are the Adun wa Thamud. We read this in the Quran. Qawmu Ad, the people of Ad, whose prophet was sent to Ad. Question, that was a question. Which prophet who was sent to the people of Ad? Sisters, come close here and join us. Get your chairs. It's not supposed to take that long. Prophet Hud alayhi salam. وَإِلَىٰ عَادٍ أَخَاهُمْ هُودًا. Maybe somebody answered, but I didn't hear it. And Thamud, which prophet was sent to Thamud? Salih. So those are ancient Arab. They ceased to exist. They were somewhere in Arabia. Salih was northwest of Arabia, closer to the area between nowadays Tabuk in Saudi Arabia, if you know where this is, between Saudi, Jordan and Egypt. Where Thamud, Ad used to be at south of Arabia, north of Hadramaut. If you know Yemen, all the way in the south of Arabia, north of that is Hadramaut. It's in a place called Al-Ahqaf, which is one surah by the name of Al-Ahqaf. We don't have anything about those Arabs, their lineage are gone. The second category of Arab or Arabs are those Al-Arab Al-Qahtaniya or Al-Ariba. They are attributed to that person in Yemen called Ya'rub ibn Qahtan, and with that, some history of that is mentioned in the Quran. Qabilat Himyar and Saba. Saba is mentioned, the queen of Sheba in Yemen, that was in Yemen. There's also some account about them in Surah Saba. Actually, the surah by the name of Saba, surah in the Quran, Allah talked about وَجَعَلْنَا بَيْنَهُمْ وَبَيْنَ الْقُرَى الَّتِي بَارَكْنَا فِيهَا قُرًى ظَاهِرًا. Just refer to Surah Saba. Allah Azza wa Jal is talking about a civilization with a queen on top, Saba, and He talked about also Sadd Ma'rib, this dam that they invented. They were able to, it's not like the civilization of Egypt. The civilization of Egypt was all built in the valley around the Nile. The civilization of Iraq, for example, Can'aniyin and Babylon and all of these, it was built around rivers, and usually civilizations would go around some rivers, some fertile valleys and so on. Yemen, they don't have rivers. But they were able to build, it's a mountain area, they were able to build this dam and hold the water, and around this dam, Sadd Ma'rib. It's called Sadd is a dam. Ma'rib is a place. Many nations, many tribes came on. That was mainly Al-Arab Al-Ariba, which is actually the origin of Arabs. From them is the tribe of Jurhum. Ismail alayhi salam, who was the father of Ismail? I want answers from everybody. Who was the father of Ismail? Ibrahim alayhi salam. Is he from Arabia? Yes or no? No, he's from the north, originally from Iraq. Prophet Ibrahim is from Iraq, and then he traveled to Palestine and Egypt. But he ended up leaving his son Ismail where? In the middle of Arabia. Which city? Answers. Mecca. When he left Ismail alayhi salam, I'm not going to go into the details. Ismail found the water, or Zamzam, we know the story of Zamzam. And then when the water came, birds came, and Arabs were, because they were tribes following the water, following the graze and everything, they saw the birds. This specific tribe called Jurhum, they were from Yemen. They came, asked permission, can we be here? for the water. Yes, Ismail will grow up with them, learning Arabic from them, and that will give us the third category of Arabs, Al-Arab al-Musta'ariba. Those who were not originally Arabic, but they are mixed with Arabs, and from them, actually, all the Arab after that will be from Ismail. Ismail, who mixed, he got married from Jurhum, he grew up and got married from this tribe that stayed in Mecca, and all the Arabs after him came from him, who was a mix of non-Arab and Arab. He himself is not Arab. Ibrahim is not Arab, alayhi salam. He was from the north, right? So from Ismail alayhi salam, who is the father of Arabs, came the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, there is confirmed tracing of his lineage to 20 generations, 20 grandfathers, you may say. The 20th grandfather of Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, his name was? No. His name was? Adnan, number 20. Ahsan. His name is Adnan. That's why he's called Al-Adnani. He's attributed to Adnan. So between the Prophet ﷺ and Adnan, we will get to that. We'll mention them by name, 20 people. Hopefully, inshallah, this is going to be your assignment, is you have to know the name of the Prophet ﷺ, Muhammad ibn Abdullah ibn Abdul Muttalib ibn Hashim, mention the 20 names up to Adnan. It's known and it's confirmed. From Adnan all the way to Ismail, it's not confirmed. It's suggested, it's not confirmed. So, this is quickly the history of Arabs. We can talk, they talk about al-hal al-ijtima'iyya, socially, economically. We know some of that, but I don't want to get into the details. But maybe quickly, socially, Arabs then, they were, the pride, the family, the tribe, the word. I give you my word. It's like, they lived by that generosity. They were so generous. That's on the side of good things. Bad things, socially and ethically, they didn't like women, for example. Not women, like girls. If they have girls, those cannot fight, those cannot protect us. Some of them, they made waqdul banat, as Allah mentioned in the Quran. They kill them, they bury them alive, they take so much shame. Even though women in the Arabic community, it was kind of, not really respected in a way, but in another way, she was in the middle of making the history. You will see them helping in the community, you see them making work, you will see them following them even at wars and sometimes fighting. So there was this kind of discrepancy in there. They take so much pride in protecting the women, but in the same time, they take shame in having, not all of them, many of them I would say. And Allah criticized this in the Quran. Military-wise, they did not have one government, with the exception of maybe Mecca. Mecca, they had some kind, it's not an official government, but it was known who was taking care of the war when it comes to army, who was taking care of providing water for the Hujjaj, it's called Siqaya, who was taking care of the house, this tribe doing that, some kind of ministries in there, some kind of, this is secretary of that, this is secretary of that. But everywhere else, they were scattered tribes who did not have much in between them, other than this family that belonged to one, go back to one grandfather or something, they have this area, Military-wise, there was so much wars between them, not much civilization. I will talk a little bit about the history of non-Arabs before we get to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And there was a lot that I would leave it for you to recite about how was the condition of Arabs at this time. What about non-Arabs? What was going on, the political situation, the social situation in the area? There were basically two main empires. The first one was the Romans. The Romans is divided into two parts. الرومانيون الشرقيون, the Eastern Romans, they are called Byzantines, al-Byzantine, which was ruling over Al-Qustantiniya, nowadays mostly Turkey, and Balkan country, you're talking Albania, all of these countries, all the way to Greece, Yunan, all the way to Greece, all of that, and they were taking over the whole Hawd al-Bahr al-Abad al-Mutawassit, the Mediterranean, Egypt, North Africa, Syria, Palestine. There was all Roman. Lebanon under the Romans, Egypt under the Romans, Eastern Romans. The Western Romans were in the Western Europe and up North Europe. So these are the Romans. And what was going on with the Romans? Total corruption. They were mostly Christians, But they started dividing so much in between them as to what is the nature of God? Is he human like us? No, he was a human born from God, a human coming in flesh. They hold conferences too, and they divided so much in between them that in Egypt, for example, when Amr ibn al-As, the Muslim, went to basically spread Islam there were two main kinds of Christians. Until nowadays they are there. Actually, one of them wear white and the other wear black. They were in fighting with one another, and one of them was like killing the other person, or like eradicating or persecuting the other group, and he established the right people there. That was the same case everywhere. A lot of dhulm, a lot of their life was, the Roman, all of these movies, what do you call it? The Roman, the Middle Ages, they were basically a lot of fun. They will make everywhere. If you go to Egypt, Alexandria, for example, if you go to Greece, if you go to all of these areas, they will have a huge arena with probably 100,000 people can attend. And then there is an area in the middle where they invite wrestling. Men would wrestle one another and usually wrestle one another to death. Or sometimes they get a man versus a lion or a tiger. They were having all of this lahu and fun, and they were also very violent in their, culture. Like, you have to kill him. It's all of these movies that you watch that's based on that Roman. This is a Roman culture in there. When it comes to religion, I mentioned what was going on. A lot of divisions. The strong will take over the weak, and so on. If you go to the other side, Persians were taking it to extreme. The extreme here when it comes to religion on the Romans are ruhban. If you want to be religious, you actually have to go be a monk in the mountain, far away from people. This is the form of religion that they had. On the other side, the Persians were taking care over the Persia, which is Iran nowadays, and they had fire worshipping, Zaradishtiya, different kinds of being, al-Batiniya they call it. It's basically God is everywhere, which was also represented in India. God is in everything. It's not clear. They will they had this kind. Actually, some Muslims nowadays inherited that from them. The rulers, it's a dynasty that the king will give it to his son, give it to his grandson, and so on. And they were like the kings ruled by the name of God. Romans had something similar to that, but it was even clearer on the Persian side. They speak the tongue of God. You cannot take it from them. They are basically like they don't call it the children of God, but they are talking in the tongue of God, which is like ayatullah nowadays. Which in Islam, no. The imam doesn't speak. Even the imam, even the teacher, even the scholars, we don't speak. We teach. We connect you directly to God. The ruler does not rule. He tries. This is my judgment. This is my best judgment, trying to understand Quran. But it's not like whatever the imam, by the imam, I don't mean the imam of the masjid, the president. He doesn't speak in the name of God. That was what's going on. In Yemen, there used to be a civilization, but like I said, at this time it declined so much. So Arabs sometimes would be either they like freedom so much, but they would be somehow maybe connected to the Persians or connected to the Romans. They did not have an entity, they did not have much history. That was a quick history of the Arabs and a quick history of what was going on around Arabia at this time, until the birth of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Dhikru and Nasab al-Sharif. I will depend on this. It's a summary of 5 or 6 books. One of them is Seerah ibn Hisham. This is one of the encyclopedias of Seerah. Seerah ibn Hisham. Ibn Hisham is called Abdul Malik. Everything I mentioned here might come in the quiz, so you better get notes. His name is Abdul Malik ibn Hisham. He was born in Al-Basra. Where is Al-Basra? Which town nowadays? Which country? Al-Iraq. He moved to Egypt. Where is Egypt nowadays? Egypt. He moved to Egypt at the time of Imam al-Shafi'i. Imam al-Shafi'i was also in Iraq. Actually, he's originally from Gaza. And then he moved to everywhere until he ended up in Egypt. At the same time, Imam Shafi'i passed away 204. So when Shafi'i came to Egypt, Abdul Malik was really there. He moved from Basra and he was the Imam in Egypt, and he was a big scholar in Arabic language, in shi'r and poetry, and in the Seerah and the Akhbar, the news of the Prophet ﷺ. He was the top of that. He was told You don't want to miss this guy that came from Egypt, that came from Iraq, Shafi'i. فَتَثَاقَلَ عَنْهُ. He did not go to join him right away, but later on he went and joined him to learn from him, and he said a beautiful word about Shafi'i. I am kind of biased here anyways, but he said, مَا ظَنَنْتُ أَنَّ اللَّهَ يَخْلُقُ مِثْلَ الشَّافِعِي. I didn't think that Allah would create somebody that intelligent like Shafi'i. So that's how much he lived at this time, and he introduced the book of Seerah ibn Hisham. Seerah ibn Hisham. That's one encyclopedia from the past. We're talking year 200 after the Hijrah of the Prophet ﷺ. This is one book. The other book is by the Indian Safiyur Rahman al-Mubarakfuri, who is an Indian student who studied or who provided this research as a seerah for the Prophet ﷺ back in the 1970s, and he won the first place, and it was printed later on as a book, and the name of the book is Al-Rahiq Al-Makhtoum, The Sealed Nectar. The Sealed Nectar, and it's translated into English. Find it online, PDF file. So this is in Arabic and in English. So this is a medium kind of one volume. Seerah ibn Hisham is 4-volume book, and it's old. Al-Rahiq Al-Makhtoum, The Sealed Nectar, is, like I said, in the 70s, 1-volume book. And there are 2 other one other book that I'm focusing on, is Seerah Ard al-Ahdath wa Tahlil Waqa'a. This is by Sallabi, who is a current historian. He is Libyan, and I am not sure, most likely this book is not translated, it's only in Arabic. Ibn Hisham focuses on telling you history, basically history as is. This year, this is what happened. Next year, this is what happened. Almost same for Al-Rahiq Al-Makhtoum, The Sealed Nectar. But when it comes to As-Sallabi, he analyzes everything, and he gives us lessons, and he connects things together, which is beautiful. I am trying to get all of these together and probably giving you some honey for you fresh to take. So ذكر نسب النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم النسب الشريف. النسب الشريف. The blessed lineage of the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم. What is his name? Do I have to ask this twice? What was his name? صلى الله عليه وسلم. محمد ابن عبد الله. That's one. Count with me. Ibn Abd al-Muttalib. Ibn Abd al-Muttalib. His grandfather is Abd al-Muttalib. 2. Ibn Hashim. That's number 3. Ibn Abd Manaf. That is number 4. Give me 5, 6, and 7. أحسنت يا محمد. يلا سعيد. ابن عبد مناف. ابن قصي. ابن كلاب. ابن مرة. لا, there's no كعب in them. ذكر النسب الشريف. Okay. I'm getting it. 1 second. Okay, how about that? Like I said, this is your HW. Homework. Because we will not talk about all of it. We'll talk about the first 2 or 3. That's the nasab of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Why is it important? Because we know the details of lives of everybody. They make movies of it. They make, when this celebrity was a child, this is what she used to like. That's Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And the other reason he said, إن الله اصطفى من كنانة من ولد إسماعيل كنانة. Allah has chosen from the children of Ismail Kinana, the group, the tribe of Kinana. And اصطفى من كنانة قريش. And from Kinana he chose and he picked Quraysh, which is the tribe of the Prophet. And from Quraysh he picked Banu Hashim. He's Hashimi. And from Bani Hashim he picked Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Al-Muttalib, and from him Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. فأنا خيار من خيار من خيار من خيار. He is the best of the best of the best. Nothing in his lineage, all the way to Adam alayhi salam, that included zina, that included any illegitimate or not legal relationship, or bad zina or sifah. He's pure all the way from Adam alayhi salam all the way to his father Abdullah. طيب, talking about his father Abdullah. Abdullah, he has a story, quick story. أحد الذبيحين يقول أنا ابن الذبيحين. I am the son of the two slaughtered, almost slaughtered. The first one is Ismail, and we know his story, right? We know the story of Ismail, how he was about to get slaughtered, and Ibrahim alayhi salam, Allah, that's Ismail. Same thing almost happened to his immediate father Abdullah. What happened is his grandfather Abdul Muttalib. Abdul Muttalib was the leader of Mecca in his time. And he was trying to re-dig the well of Zamzam. And he asked for Quraysh to help him, and they were kind of reluctant. And he said, oh, if I have 10 children, sometimes, we make nadhr, we take a vow. If this happens, if God gives me this, I will do this. He took a nadhr, an oath, a vow on himself. If God gave me 10 kids, 10 males, and they grow up to the age of puberty around me to protect me and help me and listen to me, I make a vow to do what? To slaughter one of them for God. To sacrifice one of them for God. And all of a sudden, Allah gave him 10 of them and they grow up. The dearest, the youngest of them and the dearest to him was Abdullah. He was the dearest to Abdul Muttalib, his father, the grandfather of the Prophet. And he remembered his vow. And he said, oh, I have to make it. So how should we make it? He consulted with one of those sorcerers of their time, Kohen, somebody like, he said, what should I do? He said, make a draw between them. He made a draw, and there's a lot of stories about that. And they ended up making a draw. It's Abdullah. He was hoping and wishing that it would miss his dearest and youngest son, Abdullah. It came to be Abdullah. One time, 2 times, 3 times, that's it. What should we do? He had to go to the bigger sahir, the bigger kahin, far away, travel far away. And then he said, what you need to do is, what is the diya? What is like the blood money that you have to pay for somebody in your town? He said, 10 camels. He said, make a draw between Abdullah and 10 camels. And if it comes Abdullah again, increase it to another 10 camels. He kept doing that until first time, a draw between Abdullah or 10 camels. Who would come up? Abdullah. No, Abdullah, first time. So he increased it to 20. Who would come up? Abdullah. All the way to 100. 100 camels, it came finally who? The 100 camels. He said, no, I have to make sure that this is a message from God. Sometimes, all of that was like, anyway, before Islam. So he made it 3 times, and it came to be the 100 camels. He slaughtered them, left them for the poor. Anybody can take whatever meat that they want. And he was saved, the father of Abdullah, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Abdullah was saved. Abdullah, when he was at the age of getting married, like adult and ready, his father, chose for him the best lady in the whole area. Who would that be? Amina bintu Khuwaylid. Amina bintu Khuwaylid. She would meet with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in his 6th grandfather, who is Kleb. She goes back to the Amina bint Wahb, I'm sorry. Amina bint Wahb, all the way, she meets with the Prophet ﷺ in the 6th, in grandfather number 6, and they go together to Adnan and then to Ismail alayhi salam. This is Amina. They got married, and soon after that, Abdullah didn't feel well, he passed away, while she was pregnant with the Prophet ﷺ. Oh my God, I have to go fast. We know a lot of details about this story. She gave birth, and she will mention later on a few things about her birth. I will mention this in a little bit when Halima would return him to her. She herself, the mother of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Amina, she will talk about how miraculous and easy this birth was. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was born orphan, no father. His grandfather was looking for anybody to breastfeed him. Those ladies would come from faraway areas. Think of babysitting nowadays. This is business, this is a job for them. So they came from Bani Sa'd. Bani Sa'd is faraway area. And it was the habit of Quraysh that they send their kids far away from Mecca. Mecca is like a town. And obviously back then there's no vaccines and stuff. Where there's a lot of people in one place, the most vulnerable will pick all of these things. The kids will die at a very higher rate. At the city of Mecca with a lot of visitors from outside, so they send them far away in the desert with the little less crowded community for multiple reasons. One of them to be healthier. Second reason is to be stronger. Arabic language, the purer Arabic language, like I said, the history of Arabs, they were running everywhere. Mecca, it's mixed with everything. People come from north, south. The Arabic is not the purest. So they will send them to the pure Arabs to learn Arabic, amongst many other things. So those ladies were coming from Bani Sa'd. Halima, she said, كانت سنة شهباء. It was a year of barren, nothing. We came, everybody is looking for a few ladies. Everybody was looking for a baby to take. And all of them took all the babies except for this one. When she knew he is orphan, he doesn't have a father, he said his grandfather or his mother is not going to pay the same like his father. Everybody was reluctant to take him. But when everybody got a baby, no babies are left. Halima radiallahu anha Sa'diyya, the mother of the Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, foster mother, she decided to take him. She said, okay, let me take him. And that was the turning moment in her life. Let's compare two things. The minute she took him, before and after. Before she takes the Prophet ﷺ, she was coming. She said, I have a baby, her own baby, because she was breastfeeding his older brother, like baby, still baby. She said, I have no nutrition. There's not even a drop of milk coming from my breast to feed my child. We do not sleep at night because the baby is crying non-stop all night. We had a camel. The camel لا تبض بقطرة لبن. It does not give even a drop of milk. There's nothing. And she كان لها أتان. She had a donkey, a mule, not a mule. It's الأتان اللي هي أنثى الحمار. يعني a female donkey that was limping all the way and in the back of the caravan as they were coming to Mecca. And they would say, you are holding us back, move, push your cow, your donkey, go ahead. That's before. After, the minute she said, I got him into my lap, she said, the milk, my breast was full of milk, that it was enough for him and for his brother, and for the first night, she's saying, for the first night, my baby was able to sleep and I was able to sleep. And she said, my husband came to the camel, our camel, which is an older camel, and all of a sudden it's full of milk. And then he said, Wallahi inna hadihi lanasamatun mubarakah. I think he said, I swear that you got a baby, a blessed baby. There's something about that. On the way back, her atan, the same donkey, it was like the first in the caravan, and everybody was telling her, Arbi'i alayna ya ibnata Abi Du'ay. Take it easy on us. It's like we cannot catch up with you. And even when she came back, you remember she was saying this was a very drought and famine is hitting her place, Banu Sa'd. And she sends her, like they have a few animals, she sends the shepherd, like her older son or something, to take care of them. They come back at the end of the day, her animals, her cattle, few animals, they come back full and lots of milk, which means like when everybody else's camels and sheep and goats, the other people were telling their shepherds, go follow the same places, the same valleys, whatever that Ibnat Abi Du'ayd, the shepherd of Ibnat Abi Du'ayd does, just go to the same places. It wasn't that. It was mainly because of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. قالت وشبّ, he was like growing up unlike any other person. He's growing up like really fast and he became strong. And my agreement was his mother that I would bring him عند الفصال, when he is like wean him at 2 years. She brought him back when he was 2. She was very reluctant. Actually, she brought him and she was saying, you know what? I think he's not ready yet. If you can allow him to stay more. I'm afraid that if he stays in Mecca, something bad would happen to him. She really wanted to get him back, and she managed to get him back. A few, 4 months or 6 months after that, maybe 4 months after that, as him and his other brother, foster brother, were playing behind the house, the baby, her son, her full son, came inside the house crying and screaming, "Mom, Mom." There's two men that came and split open the chest of my brother, and they just got something out of him, and I don't know, something bad happened to him. They came out, they found the Prophet ﷺ with his color changed, and they asked him, he confirmed the same narration. He said, there are two men who came to me and just opened my belly or chest, and they took something out. Later on, he will tell us when he becomes a prophet, those were two angels who came to take this spot from his heart. هذه حظ الشيطان منك. This the shaitan cannot have. This is a share of shaitan in you. Basically, you are now infallible. You are a human being, still a human being, but shaitan cannot deviate the Prophet ﷺ or cause anything to him. From early on, they made this as a miracle for him from Allah. Knowing that, they decided to do what? To put the baby, give the baby back to his family, to his mother. She took him back. And she said, "What happened? Tell me what happened." She said, "No, nothing. It's just like, I think he's good now." And I said, 4 months ago or 6 months ago, you were keen to take him. Tell me what happened. She pressured her until she said, "That's what happened." She said, "Oh, you are afraid that shaitan will affect him or something bad would happen to him? Let me tell you the whole story. Wallahi, I swear. The minute I had this baby inside me, I felt totally a different person. I felt like a noor, a light that came out of me when I put him, when I delivered him. A light came out of me. أضاءت له قصور بصرى. Busra, anybody from Huran? Huran, Shan, Huraniyin? Come on, Umar, that's your place. This is, Busra is close to that. I saw that this light came all the way to this Syria palaces. I was able to see them. He was light. I didn't feel any pain, no pain. And the minute he came out with his hands as if like position of sujood, down and looking at the sky. She knew that there's something special about him. So I know, inna libni hada sha'nan, I know there's going to be a special status for my son. So that's how he grew up, alayhi salatu wassalam. In a trip, his mother took him to his paternal uncles in Medina. It's called Yathrib. Before, in her way back, she passed away. How old was the Prophet ﷺ when his mother passed away? He was 6 years old. He lost his father before he came to life, and now he lost his mother. Mother passed away when he was 6, and now he will move to be with his grandfather, Abdul Muttalib. Also had several, miraculous things and signs that came to him that this son is special, that he would allow him from amongst all he had so many kids, and he had his place around the Kaaba. They made this special place for him to sit. Nobody can dare to touch it. Muhammad ﷺ, being a young baby, 5 or 6, he will come to, or 6 or 7, he will come to sit with him. He would allow him. He said, "My son, this son of mine, you will have a status somehow." He was born, I forgot to mention, he was born at the year of Al-Fil, the incident of Al-Fil, which is not going to mention, the elephant, because we all know the story, that took place in the same year. He grew up to be with his grandfather. 2 years later, only 2 years later, his grandfather would also pass away, and he would move to be with his uncle, Abu Talib. He gave him to Abu Talib because Abu Talib and Abdullah, they would obviously marry more than one woman. Actually, there was no limit for the Arab marrying women. But Abdullah ibn Abdul Muttalib and Abu Talib both have the same father and the same mother, so he was the closest. He gave him, the son of Abdullah, to his uncle, full uncle they call it, to him to take care of him. And Abu Talib will be with him, will be taking care of him from the age 8 until he becomes a prophet, and even almost 8 years, 9 years after he became a prophet, that Abu Talib will pass away, and unfortunately he passed away not as a Muslim. The Prophet ﷺ, and let me, inshallah, 5 more minutes. I promised 30 minutes. We are at 35. Is it okay to go for 5 more minutes? Just wanted to cover. We can conclude here, or we can go for just 5 more minutes. Okay, everybody? Alhamdulillah. So, Abu Talib will take care of the Prophet ﷺ. He himself was, yes, from the best family, but not well-to-do. He was a merchant. Couple of incidents happened. When the Prophet ﷺ was around 12 years old, Abu Talib got him. He was leaving for a, لإلاف قريش إلافهم رحلة الشتاء والصيف. 2 trips of Quraysh. They taken the trip of the winter, the trip of the summer. Allah mentioned in the Quran. Trip of the summer, they go north to Syria. Trip of the winter, they go south to Yemen. Basically going, Yemen was like in the center, I didn't mention this, it was in the center of business. Things coming from India this way, or East Africa, they will come to Yemen. Going north all the way to Iraq, or to Syria, or Egypt, or vice versa. It always comes in Yemen. That's why Yemenis are known to be good, tujjar, mashallah, business people, until nowadays. So, Quraysh used to have these 2 trips. So it was the trip of the going north of the summer, right? So Abu Talib was about to leave, and Muhammad is close to him, very dear to him. If you see him, you would love him. Even if he's your enemy, you would respect him and love him too. That was so clear from his seerah, ﷺ. And that's one of the reasons why we're studying his life, ﷺ. So he wanted to go with his uncle. Being very young, very little, like 12, no, it's not time to join me. But he decided to take him. He took him and they went all the way to the borders of Syria by Huran, Busra again. And there was this place right there, Bahira al-Rahib, there's a monk, Christian monk. They have a special book that they inherited, father, grandfather, or from his teacher, all the way to Masih, Sayyidina al-Masih alayhi salam, Isa. And they had like still some pure teachings. And at this specific time, this is the route of business. They go, Quraysh people go all the way. This is the route. He's there. They know this is the place of this monk. But he never cares about them because they are idol worshippers. And this specific time, he made special food for them. And he invited them. He said, you are my guests, come. He said, what's wrong with you? We pass all the time and you never invited us. He said, no, it's okay, He said, no, there's something special. He said, just make sure everybody's invited. He mainly wanted to know, he read, and he saw a dream, and he read in his book that the man who will be a prophet is passing by right now. In some narrations, he even saw the image of the Prophet ﷺ. He also saw this cloud that covered the Nabi ﷺ all the way to this tree, and he saw the tree from far. He was in Salma'a. They usually think of a tree house. He was far up, away from everybody worshiping God and everything. So he saw the tree branches are covering when the group came under it. So he knew that there is something special about this. That's why he invited them for food and he got them. They went, all of them except for one. Who was this person? Muhammad, because he's the youngest. He said, this is a little boy living here. He said, he was looking at all of their faces. He didn't find what he's looking for. And he said, what? Are you sure that everybody's here? He said, yeah, everybody's here. He said, are you sure? He said, oh, it's just a little boy. He said, no, I invited everybody, please get him. They ended up getting him. And he was looking at him and his body and looking at him. He recognized. He said, who's the father of this? Who would answer him? Abu Talib. He said, I'm his father. He said, no, you shouldn't be his father. The father of this boy should be not in this life. He said, how did you know? Yes, I'm his uncle. His father passed away. He said, when did he pass away? Why do you ask? He said, he passed away before he was born. He said, yes, you're right. He asked him a few questions. He said, don't take this boy any further to the Christians in Syria, because this boy will be a prophet. He will be a prophet. He will be and if you, especially Jews, actually, he warned him against Jews. He said, if Jews see him, they will finish him. They will kill him. So that was indication, not number one, actually, so many indications, but that was one of the clearest indications that Abu Talib finished his business quickly and came back to Mecca. A few things happened when the Prophet ﷺ was this age. He joined his people in Harb al-Fijar. There was a war between Quraysh and some other tribes. He joined them and he was helping his uncles with the spears and archery and everything. He helped in so many things, and he was a shipper. he was, one of his things that he did at this time is he was taking care of some cattle and some sheep for some people for some money. And he was known to be super honest, sadiq al-amin. From early age, we all know he was known amongst his people to be the most truthful, the most amin you can trust, and everybody loved him, alayhi salatu wasalam. Make business with him, it will be successful. It will be, give him a secret, he will take it. One other indication that happened when they were rebuilding the Kaaba at a certain time, he was trying to carry a stone, take off his clothes, to carry some stones, and his awra, his private part, was about to show, and somebody, he said, "Lakamani lakum," somebody punched me, and I had to cover myself. Again, he tried to do it again, punched him. So he was never uncovered like other people. Another incident, his peers were going to some kind of a party where there's a lot of music and dancing and girls and everything, and it happened twice. And he thought to go with them, but actually he ألقى الله عليه النوم. He was made to sleep until the next day. It was the sun, the heat of the sun that woke him up. So Allah protected him from going left and right. He never made sujood, or he never worshipped Allat wal Uzza and all of these idols that were rampant back then. He grew up until he was in his early 20s, alayhi salatu wasalam, and this is when he, Sayyidah Khadija, a businesswoman, successful businesswoman, would decide to hire him to take care of some of her business. And inshallah, next time we will start from that point. What happened on this trip, and how did she find him? How did she propose to him or give him the proposal? How did they get married? How did he receive the prophecy and prophethood? The Meccan period, we will get to that from next time, inshallah. Any questions about this? Only this? Yes, please.
I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. Kinan? You mentioned something Kinan?
Kinana.
What is that?
It's like, the group, like I said, Arabs, they would come in families and tribes. So this is one of the tribes, Kinana, a group of people that came from Ismail. From Ismail came all the Arabs. Some Arabs go here, Mudar. Some Arabs go here, Al-Ghasasina. Some Arab goes here. That's like families. In Pakistan and Egypt, they're families now. What's your family last name, if you feel? What's Farouqs. There's Farouqis. So this is like that. Kinanas, those are the Kinan. So from them came Quraysh later on. From Quraysh came Banu Hashim. From Banu Hashim came Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Jazakumullah khair. We'll see you next week, inshallah. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Please go ahead and read a little bit about